Our midweek trail on COVID-19 cases shows that global cases are now approaching 26 million. Death records collated from around the world stands at 857,821, while those who have recorded or recovered cumulatively are said to have been over 18.2 million. The U.S. has crossed the 6 million mark on infection toll while retaining its prime position on the list of 5 most impacted countries. Brazil follows with over 3.9 million confirmed cases. India is next at 3.7 million after recording the highest infection toll in the month of August. At number 4, Russia has surpassed the 1 million mark, while Peru has displaced South Africa on number 5 with 657,129 cases. This is COVID-19 Myths and Facts. I'm Onimisi Adaba. Welcome on board. We're taking you to France on Tips and Thoughts. Now, France recently witnessed a spike in infections in recent times with about 7,000 cases confirmed in one day. Health authorities are not looking any further than Cap Agde, a traditional summer destination for naturists and swingers with a penchant for hedonism. After setting up a mobile testing operation outside the village, health officials found 30% of the 800 tourists to be COVID-19 positive. Known as the Village Naturist, the resort is a secluded community with around a dozen swinger clubs and saunas, as well as erotic nightclubs that have hideaways for couples to get intimate in and out of public view. Just so you know that lifestyle can spread COVID-19, so do take good care. In May, the U.S. withdrew its membership of the World Health Organization, a move widely condemned by health experts nearly 4 months down the line. It appears that there may be no going down on this new state of relations, as the U.S. now says it will not participate in the World Health Organization's global vaccine initiative.
The Trump administration says it will not work with an international cooperative effort to develop and distribute a COVID-19 vaccine because it does not want to be constrained by multilateral groups like the World Health Organization. According to the Washington Post, Trump claims the WHO is in need of reform and is heavily influenced by China. Some nations have worked directly to secure supplies of vaccine, but others are pulling efforts to ensure success against the virus. More than 150 countries are setting up the COVID-19 Vaccines Global Access Facility, or COVAX. The White House spokesman, Judd Deere, said, quote, "The United States will continue to engage our international partners to ensure we defeat this virus, but we will not be constrained by multilateral organizations influenced by the corrupt World Health Organization and China." End quote. Quote, "The president will spare no expense to ensure that any new vaccine maintains our own Food and Drug Administration's gold standard for safety and efficacy and is thoroughly tested and saves lives." End quote.
Now, joining me to share thoughts in this regard is Calvin Dark, a global affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining in, Calvin.
Thank you.
Great. So, what does this mean? I mean, a whole lot of multilateral efforts and the race towards getting a vaccine has been on. And now we have the U.S. taking this position, or the Trump administration taking this position. What does it mean?
Well, it means one more unfortunate misstep in the leadership or lack thereof in getting our country and in part, the world through this pandemic. One of the things that, as we were just talking about the WHO and the Trump administration, something I really wish that President Trump would hear, and it's hard because he doesn't usually hear from anyone that has anything critical to say about him, which would be me. I would recommend that the push that he's been on to talk about the corruption and influence of China with the WHO, that we're not disagreeing with him on that, and that he believes that it shows America's strength by withdrawing our country from this multilateral force. What would really show power and leadership is if we stayed in it and said, here's what we're going to demand as far as transparency, as far as independence and objectivity when it comes to the science. But he, because it suits his political campaign slogans, thinks that we're going to forego all of that because America first for him means America all alone by itself.
Okay, talking about politics now, he has talked about possibilities of having a vaccine developed in the United States before the election. Oh no, before the election. What's the state of this? What's the progress?
Well, unfortunately, one of the things that we're having to deal with in this country is I don't think there's anyone that does not want a vaccine or therapeutic, especially as we approach flu season. You know, it can't come soon enough. And I think because of some of the missteps of the Trump administration when it came to recommending drugs that ended up being harmful, there's even the bleach incident with the infrared light or whatever that was about. People don't have confidence in the process. And especially when he ties it so closely to November 3rd. I think one of the things that came out from the CDC today was saying something by November 1st. And the reason that's not helpful is it's not that we don't want it before Election Day. I want it before Labor Day, which is Monday, but I want it to be safe. And this administration hasn't given us the confidence that what they will give us will be prioritized to be safe. We do know whatever it is will be prioritized to have the biggest political impact, which is dangerous when it comes to your health.
Okay, without a doubt, the U.S. is now the epicenter of the pandemic with over 6 million cases. What's the implication of this vaccine nationalism that it's pursuing, you know, in pulling out? What would be the repercussion?
Well, I think one of the things that the Trump administration and those that support the decision of the withdrawal from the WHO, one of the things they're not thinking about is, you know, yes, we are the most powerful, richest nation on the planet, but we may be putting ourselves in a situation where we're at a disadvantage when we most need it. And what I mean by that is, yeah, what if we come up with a great vaccine tomorrow, but then the vials or the rubber stoppers are more easily made in another country? Also, what if another country or another multilateral group comes up with the vaccine? Are we going to then force our way into it? Like, it would have made more sense for us to be partners in the beginning. So I think that that's something that a lot of Americans aren't thinking about who support the decision, that we shouldn't go alone, because something like science is only done better when the more heads you have around the world and in different places with diverse populations contributing to finding the vaccine.
Again, still considering the fact that the U.S. is the epicenter, and with all that is going on, schools are being opened and people are beginning to go to work, and shouldn't we be afraid of that?
Well, yes, and I'll tell you one of the things that I'm seeing in this country, and it kind of really hit me this summer, is, you know, after the period of lockdown, which is frustrating for us all. I mean, everybody recognizes that. But there was this movement in this country to say, you know what, we're just going to forge ahead, that we believe because of our political stance that the disease isn't going to affect us. And people saw in states where they had that mentality, they became the new epicenters in this epicenter. And we're now starting to see that more and more as some schools are saying, you know, we're going to reopen, and a lot of the big ones have closed again after a week or two. So I do think that the thing about the coronavirus is you can talk about solutions, you can actually have solutions. It doesn't matter what political party you belong to. This disease has to be dealt with from a scientific point of view, and nothing, no politician, no election, no unfounded belief is going to change that.
All right, Calvin Dark, thank you so much for joining in and sharing your thoughts in this regard. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, take good care. And that's a package on today's edition of COVID-19 Myths and Facts. Thank you for watching. Remember, whatever you do, stay informed and do stay safe. I'm Onimisi Adaba. Goodbye for now.